Hey there, this is Zachary.
And I'm Jay,
the hosts of Fear and There.
Thanks so much for listening to the following podcast on Public House Media.
No Filter Friday on Public House Media. Now, I barely have a voice because I feel like I've basically been hit by a truck, essentially, which is fine. I'm fine with that. That's, sacrifices we all make in this life. It's not like I have the Rona, so that's exciting. Anyway, but no fun drinks. Just get to drink water, basically. Anyway, I didn't get to do the show last week because David Bobke, is that you, my wonderful, fantastic friend? I didn't get to do the show last week because that's when I got sick and I was like, oh no, I'm on the road and I'm sick. What happened? But turns out it's not the Rona, which is great. It's just horrific stomach intestinal infection that I've caught, which is fine. I'm fine with that. I'll live. Anyway, I posted a bunch this week about all of the huge U.S. Marshal child trafficking sting operations that are going on that they've made lots of arrests from, and then just a bunch of recon they did on a bunch of missing kids, which is all super, super, super exciting, or it is to me anyway. And then a lot of you really engage with that sort of thing as well. I feel like that's where my I shouldn't say, well, not most of my social media, but a good portion of my social media is going that days. And another thing that I posted was this really interesting situation with Ghislaine Maxwell. So this jewel thief named Robert Steele came out against Ghislaine Maxwell and said that her and Jeffrey Epstein showed him a bunch of, forced him to sit in one of this, many properties they had amongst themselves and watch all of these videos they had of prominent U.S. politicians and royalty and celebrities having sex with children. Another big issue that we're having in this is that the media is always like, sex with minors, and it's like, nope, that's child rape, kids. And that is one thing that you can do in all of this, is that the media is constantly doing this. They're constantly downplaying and using nice words, i.e. tapes of prominent politicians having sex with minors. That's not a thing. These people are child rapists, and that is one. Not just if people repost it, that's not really enough of a comment. But if you go to the New York Times or Daily Mail or whoever it is that actually published the article and comment in their comment section of hey, that's not sex with minors, that's raping children. And people keep messaging me about this new California law where they're basically allowing lesser sentences for criminals I shouldn't put it that way. I should say people who are convicted of sex crimes against children in California when it was a willing child. That's getting really, really controversial, but the bottom line is that it's the slippery slope, and that's the point of it. So if you want me to do a different show on that, hello, Roger. Hey, all is good sound-wise. Oh, thank God, because it is so loud here. It is so loud. I don't know if you can hear people outside, down this way, on the roof, over there. They're all loud people, because where I am, it's not actually Friday night. It is Saturday morning. Because, we're road dogging. We are road dogging No Filter Friday these days. And I'm so happy that the internet connection is working, because I really had to fiddle. Do you hear these loud people? That's enough. Enough of the loudness. Anyway, so I guess we should have called the show Honor Amongst Thieves, because is that Sean Menzies that I see that came in? I can't really see who that is. I guess we should have called this show Honor Amongst Thieves, because I guess this like longtime jewel thief, and like who knew that there's actually modern jewel thieves? I thought that was just like a thing that people, that you were a caper back in the day when people actually kept stuff in like safes. I thought that was just like a plot line for movies that are like, oh, this person's a jewel thief. Like, what? We still do that in 2020? Seriously? Anyway, for whatever reason, he decided to join in on this case and spill all of Ghislaine and Jeffrey's tea, but Jeffrey's dead, so now it's just Ghislaine left holding the bag. And everybody keeps saying that she's not a primary target as far as like investigation goes, and that she's just going to take a plea deal and walk. But like, one of my wonderful Facebook friends, Kelly Hill, mentioned that just being in possession of that child porn is like a crime in and of itself, let alone the fact that they had an island and she was procuring girls for it to do this and grooming them and crossing state lines, taking these girls out of the country. There was little boys too, but the media has only mentioned the girls yet, so we don't really get much into that yet. But just being in possession of that is going to get her way more than 35 years. Way more. Even if she rats all these people out, because the thing is, like, the thing about blackmail is that you don't just have like one tape in an undisclosed location and in case you need to use it. All this stuff is backed up. And the thing is like, because they were so devil may careless with all of this evidence that they made against these elitist people who were really into raping children. Or some of them that weren't into actually raping into children. They were just getting jumped into this gang, basically, because that's what it was. It's, a high-profile gang of sorts, in the gist of it. So, like street gangs, like, they have to go kill somebody on the east side of Detroit or whatever it is that they have to do to get jumped into a gang, to get jumped into the Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell pedophile elite. They need to have a tape of you doing something illegal. That way they can have power over you, which is what they were exuding to this jewel thief guy for whatever reason. They didn't exactly say why they needed a jewel thief. That's kind of what I thought was left out of the article. Exactly did they need thieving? And why were they trying to convince this guy specifically to do it? If you got all this blackmail and all these people, then what services, pray tell, would you need? Like, isn't that the point of having a pile of blackmail, is that you don't ever have to do anything for yourself ever again? You can just be like, hey, those infinite favors that you owe me? Like, isn't that the point of having blackmail? Like, come on. If you're going to do it, like, take advantage, Anyway, that's besides the point. So, we'll see what happens with this whole Ghislaine Maxwell situation. In my opinion, she's going to get way more than 35 years. And even if she does or she doesn't, she's going to get suicided just like Jeffrey anyway. So whether she's in the joint, out of the joint, either way, she's done's. Okay. Next thing that we have to cover is this Cuties controversy on Netflix. And what do I always tell you? That Ted Sarandos keeps strange company. He's a weird dude. And is it of any shock that they have this movie that was an acquisition to Netflix? It's called Cuties. It's about a twerk team of 11-year-olds. And I can't say that I can personally be like, oh no, 11-year-olds shouldn't be twerking, because I don't have any ground to stand on in that way. But it is not a Netflix original. It is the acquisition, and that's kind of what I thought was the funny part about their backpedal when people were like, Netflix, what is this mess? What is this hot child porn adjacent mess? And they were like, oh, we got it at Sundance. It's like artistic, and that's not an excuse. Like, it's not. I've been to Sundance 8 times, and just because it's at Sundance, does not mean it's good. I have seen hot dumpster fire at Sundance. I love Sundance, don't get it twisted, but like, every festival has crap films in it. Like, it just does. Some more than others, but don't think there's not crap at Sundance, because there is. Like, I've seen plenty of people, myself included, walk out of theaters when you're like The Egyptian, like not some ancillary, like, because they've got so many theaters at Sundance these days. Like, it's not just in Park City, it's bled down into Salt Lake as well. Like, I've seen people walk out of films at Sundance. That's kind of no consequence. But again, I'm always telling you that Ted Sarandos keeps strange company, and he totally does. He totally does. Don't think for a second that he didn't sign off on this at some place just to test the waters, just to see if people would be into it. Because, again, another article that I posted earlier this week about one of the child porn sites called Playpen. How disgusting is that? I think that was getting run out of Australia. They got shut down and they had 150,000 users. So, are we really going to sit here and pretend like Ted Sarandos and all of Netflix wasn't testing the waters with their Cuties movie? It was like, oh, it's like foreign and it was at Sundance, so it's artistic. What? Come on. Nobody believes us. And like, it's like a topic that's been talked about for like the past couple weeks. Like, it's been getting tossed around, and now I guess as of today, because I'm really seeing this hashtag boycott Netflix really get some traction. People are canceling their memberships, and they're not happy about this hot garbage dumpster fire of a movie that Netflix is just like rallying behind. Like, they changed the poster and they changed the description, but people are still like, child porn adjacent, that's not really enough. But I wonder, I'm not really too privy to the, like whatever, because Netflix licenses content for a certain amount of time, right? And I'm not exactly sure where in their contract it stipulates that they could pull stuff early, or if they actually have to run it for the duration of the licensing term. That I don't know. If you do know, leave me a comment or slide in my DMs, because I think that's kind of an interesting point to the story that nobody's talking about, but I think nobody's talking about it because we don't know exactly if Netflix contractually is allowed to pull things before the license term is up. And you know what I should do too, as a bonus, because people keep sending me this. So another 24 women have been piled onto the Ron Jeremy case. So like, I mean, I already told you that he's not getting out of jail. He's not, but it's that case is basically exploding, and they're going to do a Harvey similar thing where they call witnesses that would have a criminal or civil case against him, but it's outside of the statute of limitations, to corroborate the cases that are within the statute of limitations, to corroborate those stories. So that is, I mean, I don't want to detract from, each individual victim, because that's not the right thing to do, but once they've got them for a certain amount of time, it's just, the rest is just gravy, That's just for showing off, which there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, that is enough for No Filter Friday. I'm going to go back to being in bed, and then maybe put some eye gels on, because this is not acceptable. This is not correct. And I will see you all next week, and God only knows if we'll have another Jewel Thief or another 20 people come out on creds for Ron Jeremy. Anything can happen. Literally anything. I will see you all next week. Check out other shows on Public House Media, like Loud and Proud and Disarming Disability, and all those fun, lighter, empowering shows, which this show is not, but those other shows on Public House Media are. See you later. Bye.